Tonight, the most iconic matchup in Warhammer, Warriors of Chaos versus the Empire. I'm playing as the followers of Khorne, the Lords of Rage and the Takers of Skulls, and across from me commanding the forces of Averland, Pina Colada. As I said, my army is Khorne themed through and through, 3 Marauders up front, very useful meat shields but pretty substandard melee stats, and behind them I've got a nice line of armored Bestigors, special unit for basemen in the tabletop, and invaluable to the Warriors of Chaos in Call of Warhammer. Very high armor value, charge bonus higher than many cav units in this mod, and 2 HP. If you're playing Chaos, you should definitely be bringing some of these guys. They're very good. Some Khorne Chosen, which perpetually disappoint me, and you'll see why later on in the battle. I'll explain that when it happens. And Warriors of Chaos in the back, and over on this flank doing something a little bit interesting. I brought some Chosen Knights of Khorne and some Chaos Knights, and they are backed up by some Halberd Warriors as support. So the Halberd is the key to this flank. If the Empire chooses to take a cav fight, he's going to have to do it right next to my Halberd Warriors, which means that he could lose a lot of cav very quickly. Even the tankiest cav units can get butchered by Halberd Warriors in seconds. So we'll see if an engagement happens out over there. Some more Chaos Knights, and I've also brought some Bloodletters, the regular demons of Khorne. Very dangerous in this mod as infantry or mounted on juggernauts as the famed blood crushers, and bloodthirsters are definitely expensive to field, but make up for it by being some of the best melee powerhouses in this mod. Now he has left some Empire swordsmen in the rear here, kind of as a rear guard, a little ambush or delay tactic. I'm not 100% sure if that was purposeful. They are going to die because the Bestigors are much faster. They cover a lot of ground when they run, as you'd expect. They're huge. But leaving behind those swordsmen isn't going to be quite as dumb or silly as it looks in a few minutes. And I'll show you what I mean when it happens. But he is going to leave these 2 Empire swordsmen behind. They are going to get into shield wall, so they're going to be able to tank out for quite a while. And I'm going to get a little bit blobbed up on them. But there is a cavalry engagement about to happen over on the other side of the field. So this is simply going to be up to my micro if I can pull off a win or a cost-effective trade in this engagement. It's going to be 4 heavily armored Empire cav units, Grudgebringer cav backed up by 2 Knights of the White Wolf and an Order of the Golden Lion against my Chaos Knights, Chosen Knights, and my Halberd Warriors. So what I want to do here is make him think I'm charging in my cav, bait out those charges, and then block his charges with my Halberds and countercharge with my own Knights. I am going to succeed right here, do quite a bit of damage, to take about 6 or 7 Knights down on that cav unit. But over here, I am going to take the engagement. The Chaos Knights are going to charge directly into Knights of the White Wolf. That really isn't a great engagement, and now I'm going to get surrounded. I should have left that one, pulled that one back, and just taken the engagement where my Halberd Warriors were. So I'm actually tying down that cav blob, and that's kind of good, but honestly I'm going to lose the Chaos Knights. It's not the best thing. Again, I am going to block his charge here with some more of my Halberd Warriors. I am going to lose some of my Chaos Knights, my Chosen, but that's going to happen. This is going to be a really tough cav engagement. He has way more cavalry over on this side of the field, and those Knights of the White Wolf have just devastating charge bonus of 14. So it's going to be really hard. Now the Knights of the Golden Lion are coming over now as well, and this is going to get even harder for me. I have no hope of winning this engagement. What I have to do is make it a cost-effective trade, take as many cav units down as I possibly can. So I've let my Halberds get a little bit too far away from my Chosen now, and he's going to get a flanking charge into them. Again, not good on my part, but very good on Pina Coladas to get a rear charge off there. And as I try to overlap with my Halberd Warriors, he's going to pull out, and that was definitely a mistake. I've lost most of my cav at this point, but he is going to try to isolate this Halberd Warrior and kill it with his cav units, which is a risky proposition. I mean, they are Halberds. You can see he got a good charge off there. 14 charge bonus doing quite a bit of damage, but he's going to lose a lot of cav trying to take down my Halberd. So he's charging it from multiple sides, which is what you want to do when you're taking down any kind of unit in Medieval 2 or Attila or Total War in general. If you can surround even a spear unit or a Halberd Warrior, you can kill it with cav if you charge it from multiple angles, but they're some of the tankiest Halberds in the game. They're Warriors of Chaos. They have very good anti-cav properties. They're going to do quite a bit of damage over there. So now you'll see what I meant when I said that the delay tactic he's put out here, 2 Empire Swords, isn't such a bad idea. What he's doing is shooting his mortars into these blobs, and this is honestly 100% my fault. I should not be blobbing up this hard, and I'm going to get punished really heavily here. I'm going to lose about 15 Chaos Knights in that unit for no reason. I mean, I got a rear charge off on the Empire Swordsman, great. They were going to lose combat anyway. There was no reason to blob up my cav there, and I've lost quite a bit of my cavalry pretty early on in the battle. Now, to be fair, Empire player has lost a lot of his as well, and he needs his cav more than I do. I am going to win this infantry engagement. So let's look at his army real quick. He does have 4 Dwarf Thunders. I guess they're just coming over from one of the Dwarf holds to help out the Empire. Warrior Priest of Sigmar. He has a Hellblaster Volley Gun. Like I said, 4 Thunders, 2 Dismounted Reichsguard, and then a main line of heavy Averland Halberdiers. So he has quite a potent infantry corps, and he does have very good range. The Thunders are going to have nice little armor piercing, or be able to do quite a lot of damage to my men as I move up. But what is going to happen is I'm going to try to surround him, just hit him from multiple angles, kind of spread out all over the field, and just use my melee superiority to cut through. So he's going to have to make sure his artillery pays for itself and his Thunders pay for themselves. Otherwise, he's going to be in real big trouble because his infantry line cannot do the damage it needs to just win the battle for him. He's going to have to get some really good cav charges off. He's going to have to do quite a bit of skirmishing and have some good use of artillery to cut through all these Warriors of Chaos. I have a very big army, a lot of tanky troops on the field. So there was a pretty long rest period there after I killed the Empire Swordsman, so I cut that out of the video, and now the Warriors of Khorne are going to stream down the mountainside and crash into the spear wall of Averland. Or maybe not. Looking at this engagement, and that's one thing that you have to do when you're going to be facing an opponent, is you need to look at their army and figure out what their strengths are. And I've realized that the strength of his army is going to be in the center there with those halberd warriors, and they're going to be tying down my main line so that his thunders and artillery can shoot in. So what I want to do in this game, or pretty much any Total War game where spear walls or pikes are scary to deal with, is ignore them. Save them for last. They're slow, do not fight well when flanked, they're bad at reinforcing. I'm going to completely bypass the halberd warriors and go for everything else. So you can see, completely ignore the center of his formation, and I'm going to go straight for his Thunderers and his Dismounted Reichsguard on the flanks. Doesn't matter if we're talking about Shogun 2 or Rome 2 or Medieval 2, units in Spear Wall are generally speaking the last thing you want to kill or worry about, because you can kill everything else, and without support, they can't do anything to you. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to swarm around the sides, completely overload both flanks, and ignore his center, because his heavy halberdiers are going to have a really hard time moving to the flanks and reinforcing. He's going to make a big mistake here. He's not going to get his cav charge off on any of his units. Knights of the White Wolf and the Grudgebringers are going to go down to my Chaos Knights. I'm going to back them up with some Axe Throwers and some Warriors of Chaos. That's going to be very bad for him. He needed to save his cav units to get Hammer and Anvils off on my infantry. He needs those in tandem with the Dwarfs shooting in to cause some chain routes on my main line. So as you can see, I'm overloading his right flank and his left flank, completely ignore the center, and my demons over on my right flank are going to be able to cut through on that side quite easily. Bestigors and some Marauders, as well as the Chosen, are in melee. Now the Chosen are very cool looking. The Khorne Chosen look amazing in this mod, but they don't have shields, which really hurts them in Medieval 2. They usually perform much worse than Warriors of Chaos, even though they cost more. That's simply because the Warriors of Chaos have a better shield, or they have a shield, which means they're much tankier and harder to kill in melee combat, and they can block skirmish fire much more effectively. So the Chosen of Khorne usually do pretty poorly for me. I should honestly stop bringing them, but they just look so damn awesome that I feel like I have to bring them. The Golden Lions are going to charge in now. Good charge into the flank of my demons and some of my Chaos Knights. Definitely going to do some damage there. He should not leave them in melee too long, though, because the attack value of the Bloodletters is so high, you really don't want to deal with them unless you can just charge in multiple times. So he should be cycle charging, and now my halberds are going to silence these cannons right here. Haven't shut down those Hellblaster Volley Guns yet. Those should be the most important target for me, because they can shred the Warriors of Chaos in a volley or two if given the time to fire. So yeah, definitely silencing those guns will be important. And you can see that he didn't bring a lot of infantry. His infantry is quite good, but the line's going to falter a little bit. There are gaps in his line because he doesn't have that much. Now, Hellblaster Volley Gun going to open up, going to wreck my axe throwers there. Look at, oh my god, look at that devastation. Absolute carnage over here. Axe throwers getting completely torn apart, but I'm going to quickly overlap, get my Bestigors in there, and silence those guns as well. So he's getting some rear charges into my Chaos Knights. Very good charge there, and those Chaos Knights are going to drop like flies. They only have 1 HP. They do have very good armor, but when you get rear charged by elite Empire Cav, that doesn't really matter. You're going to be dropping like flies. Warrior Priests of Sigmar and Warriors of Chaos fighting here. It's not an even fight. Warrior Priests of Sigmar will definitely win, but Warriors of Chaos are tanky, as you would expect. Very high armor and shield block chance, so they'll be fighting for quite a while. Do have a nice little half moon surround on those dismounted Reichsguard. And over here, the Chosen engaging the Heavy Halberdiers from the front. Not really a good engagement for the Chosen. They're actually probably going to lose that engagement if they stay in there too long. So I only have a handful of Chaos Knights left in this unit, and their job is just to kill the gun crews at this point. I'm hoping that because they have such a small unit size, it's going to be hard for Pina Colada to notice them. And I mean, 3 Chaos Knights can absolutely wreck the gun crew of any artillery piece. So they're going to be doing fine right there. I have broken a lot of his left flank with my Bestigors. They're still tied up with some of the dismounted Reichsguard, but my Bloodletters flanked all the way around, kind of got into the center as formation. I am going to pull out my Bestigors. It is actually a pretty viable tactic with Bestigors to cycle charge because they have 2 HP, meaning you can disengage pretty easily without taking a lot of losses, and then get that massive charge bonus off again. So I'm going to pull them out, see if I can get another charge into his rear. Bloodletters moving through, cutting through some Empire units, and then also silencing the mortar crew right here. Most of his gun crews are silent at this point, and a small band of Chaos Knights charging into the rear. The little warrior priest gonna get thrown up into the air. Always thought that animation for Medieval 2 was kind of janky, but at this point, I mean, I love it. It's just one of those things that I've gotten used to over the years. It's fun to see the occasional unit just get thrown directly up into the air, even though the physics of it make, of course, no sense whatsoever. But yeah, I am going to be losing those Chaos Warriors right there. Hopefully the charges from the Chaos Knights in the back will even that fight out just a little bit more. 2 Bestigors and some Axe Throwers moving in now, and these Axe Throwers should be able to get some nice volleys off into the rear of the Warrior Priests of Sigmar. Remember, they have very high missile damage. Warrior Priests do have multiple HP, so the first volley probably won't do too much there. Yeah, I think it only got 1 or 2 kills, but provided I have more time to fire there, should be able to do a lot of damage. And of course, a rear charge from Bestigors is not what you want to deal with. So two men left in that Chaos Knight unit, and he's getting some rear charges off. Oh, actually killed quite a bit of Bestigors right there with the Knights of the Golden Lion. But this is his only Cav unit left. I think that if he had more Cav at this point in the battle, he could probably start turning this battle more in his favor. It's going to be an uphill climb for him at this point. I have a lot of melee troops left, and he doesn't have a lot of Cav. Cav in late game situations is how you win. I don't have a lot of Cav either, but I have way more infantry than he does. And remember that a lot of my infantry is 2 HP. The Bestigors and the Bloodletters are going to be super hard for even his Halberdiers, which are a very good unit to cut through. So he definitely should have done a little bit of a better job keeping his Cav alive. I think that kind of goes back to the engagement with the Halberd Warriors over earlier in the battle. I think he lost a lot of Cav that he didn't need to dealing with that Halberd Warrior. And I know why I wanted to take it off the field. It's a very important unit, but it's dangerous to sacrifice that much Cav to do it. So this is my general right here. You can see that the guy with the 2 axes is my gen. You'll see him. He's going to actually end up being very important in this battle. There's a funny little thing that happens with him. Good rear charge from the Knights of the Golden Lion. More axe throwers going down. He's just trying to cause a chain route here, and what he should be doing is going for those low tier units. That's what he is doing. He can cause a chain route possibly if he gets some of those axe warriors and maybe the Warriors of Chaos routing. Now, his gen and my gen are going to fight 6 Cav versus 6 Cav, and I'm going to get butchered in melee. I was so confused at this point. My Chaos Knights, I guess they had already taken a lot of damage. They're going to drop so fast, and all 5 of my general's bodyguard are going to drop. He only loses 1 guy in that Cav engagement, And I was scared here because I was afraid I was going to lose my gen, and that could be a devastating loss for the Warriors of Chaos. Didn't want that to happen, so I saw him taking a bunch of the damage here, and I was like, pull him out, pull him out, pull him out. And this is a very decidedly un-Khorne-like thing to do, but I have to do it. This general realizes that if he goes down, his whole army could rout. Gotta get him out of melee. Khorne made me displeased with it, but this battle is too important to let go. And yeah, he's going to pull out of melee there, try to run away, and then Pina Colada is going to try his absolute hardest to just chase after the gen. There's going to be some real nice ring around the rosy that we play around here for a while. So I need to keep my gen out of melee. I really don't want him to go down. I am winning the left flank, my right flank, and killing most of his troops. He has almost no guys left over on that side. I guess a charge there from the Knights of the Golden Lion bugged out a bit, but Halberd Warriors fighting my Halberds. I'm gonna think. No, I was thinking about rear charging with my gen, but at this point I'm like, no, I can't. Take out the gun crew instead. He still does have some Hellblaster Volley Guns on the field that could still fire, so gonna do a very awesome charge there. Kill that gun crew with my gen, and then I saw the charge coming in and pull out and barely get away again. Khorne is really displeased right now. He is not happy with his general at all. But yeah, I'm gonna pull out, keep him alive, and keep running around the battlefield. He's trying so hard. He's trying so hard to kill him right now. So yeah, keep pulling him out. And at this point, I've taken a commanding lead in the battle. Most of his infantry is dead. All of his gun crews are dead. He has a handful of halberds left. He has his gen left. Those five men left in the Knights of the Golden Lion. That's pretty much it. I've surrounded most of his army. Bestigors and Bloodletters finally crashing into the center here. I'm gonna surround what's left of his halberdiers. At this point in the battle, only Sigmar himself could save the Empire army, so let's recap what happened. I really liked his delay tactic a lot. I fell for that bait pretty hard. I got really blobbed up, and he punished me for it with his artillery. Got a lot more time to fire there. Very smart play from him. But I think he made two core mistakes this battle that I think probably cost him the game. And this is obviously for learning and analysis, not to bash his play, because I hope it's been clear I certainly made mistakes this battle too. But first, it's important to realize how important high-tier cavalry is in Medieval 2. And I think losing so many expensive knights to an isolated halberd warrior early on was really not the play. I think he could have probably pulled off a thunder or two to kill those halberds before they got back to the main line. Just skirmish them down. He wouldn't have been able to get back. The halberds wouldn't have been able to get back to the main line. He could have shot them to death, and he wouldn't have lost any more men, which would have been very good. He would have had more cav for the main engagement, which would have been very beneficial. But also, once the engagement started, he lost micro on 2 of those cav units. Didn't get their charges off, and that definitely hurt him as well. A nice little rear charge here from the Knights of the Golden Line. They're going to make their final stand. And I'm actually going to send my gen in there as well. He's going to get some kills here. The other problem was that I think he brought too much artillery to the field. I think 3 on this setting is a little bit too much. Artillery is very expensive and it very rarely pays for itself. So it's okay to think to bring 2 just to force your opponent to come to you, because they can do quite a bit of damage. But I think 3 is too much, and the regular cannons are pretty much virtually useless, so they're never going to pay for themselves. I think the 1 cannon was a waste, and he could have brought more halberd warriors to the field. That would have been beneficial as well. And his gen is going off right now, killing a bunch of my guys. And I was screaming at him at this point in Steam chat. I was like typing in all caps, "Get your gen out of there." I really wanted to 1v1 so bad with my gen and his gen, and he was saying he couldn't pull him out of melee. I don't know if I believe him, honestly. I don't think he was actually trying to pull his guy out of melee because he had space to get out there. I don't know if he was moving him out or not, or if he was trying to and he just wouldn't move, or what the deal was there. But I really wanted to 1v1 with the Khorne General and the Empire General, but he's going to go down to the Bestigor, and Warriors of Chaos are going to take the field. I think that my tactic there, dealing with just bypassing the halberd wall, was the right one. Just kind of swarmed him. Did the kind of chaos rush tactics, but there was some finesse there. Pretty interesting battle overall. I thought that beginning engagement with the Cav and the Halberd Warrior, the 2 Cav units, Chaos Knight and the Chosen, fighting off those 4 Empire Knights with the Halberd Warrior was pretty epic. one of the more interesting battles I think I've had on this mod in a while. Definitely enjoyed it. Hope you guys did as well. You can see the kills here. Pretty even across the board. Nothing really stood out. Bloodletters definitely did work for me. My Cav was not fantastic. My Chosen Knights and my Chosen Dismounted were not impressive at all, but across the board, Warriors of Chaos do quite well. Lots of their units are very good, and the Bestigors are just such a good front line to tank all that damage and get those big charges off. So, again, hope you guys enjoyed the battle. More content from Warhammer coming soon. I'll talk to you all later. Indy Pride, signing out.